Are we live? I hope we're live because I've just been screwing around with this thing. For some reason, when I tried to start this bare bones Skeleton Crew live stream, the damn thing was giving me fits. It wasn't giving me the option to go ahead and start the stream. For some reason, it said record, but it was not saying go live as it's supposed to. You know, when it's functioning correctly. That's a problem. That doesn't work for me. That's not going to work for me around here. So, you know, you got to do what you got to do. You got to make adjustments on the fly. What's up, me82? How you doing? How you doing, good brother? I'm sitting here. I was doing some preparation work for a new Comicsgate program that I'm going to be starting up here just very shortly. I mean, recording the first episode tomorrow, in fact. It's going to be called Black Coffee Comicsgate. Black Coffee Comicsgate is the name of the program, and it's honestly going to be what I'd kind of envisioned Skeleton Crew to be initially. Skeleton Crew now, it still means what I said it meant at the beginning. Skeleton Crew is continuing to do the work. It's continuing to plug away despite whatever horse shit is happening. If you imagine the Skeleton Crew that kind of keeps fucking factory rolling along. Maybe they got to cut some hours. You've got to at least have the Skeleton Crew there to keep the machines running. That's what Skeleton Crew is all about for me. Skeleton Crew, Comicsgate Skeleton Crew includes the true fucking backbone of Comicsgate. Not necessarily what you see out in front all the time, though many of those people would be included. Skeleton Crew means these are the people who are fucking supporting the books. These are the people who are making the next wave of books. These are the people creating the shit. Not necessarily all the people that are fucking embroiled in whatever horse shit of the day is going on. I love some of those people. Some of those people are, I would say, Skeleton Crew. But my job, here on this channel anyway, is to do my very, very fucking best to not get mired in the shit show. I'm trying to dig myself out of this shit. You know what I mean? I'm trying my best to dig myself out of the shit. I think everyone in this fucking network would do... they do well for themselves to do the same thing. There's too much work to be done. Black Coffee Comicsgate is another show that I came up with. It's not a live stream. Black Coffee Comicsgate is going to be a one-on-one interview with various Comicsgate creators. And the very first episode will be recorded tomorrow afternoon. And then I will... edit that together, and then I'll put it up for all of you to watch. And my first guest is going to be Michael Andon, the creator of a fantastic-looking book called Mortal Worlds. You can fund that on Indiegogo right now. And it's sitting just under $2,500. And in my opinion, that is this book, to me, because I think I saw the first advertisement for this. I mean, it had to be over 6 months ago. It's been a long time. But I saw the first ad for it, and I was like, that is a book that I will absolutely be backing. And for one reason or another, it kind of it flew under the radar for me until just yesterday. And then I finally backed it. And it's only got 6 days left in the campaign. Like I said, it's just under $2,500. But it was a no-brainer for me to back. It's one of those books. It reminds me of sort of the old Marvel G.I. Joe comics kind of fused together with Transformers books from the 80s. You throw in sort of some of what Tom Scioli's done with his Transformers versus G.I. Joe books, and then like modern coloring. It looks awesome. It looks like everything that people want Comicsgate to be. And the fact that this book is where it is in funding, I mean, Michael set his campaign goal where he did, and he has surpassed that. So that's a win for him. I'll give him that much. That's great. You can't take that away. What has me scratching my fucking head is how people within this scene, within this network, have let this book, like I said, kind of fly under the radar. And I'm guilty of it too, because I didn't back it until a couple days ago. So I wanted to get out there, and I had this idea to do these one-on-one sit-down interviews with Comicsgate creators. And I reached out to him, and I was like, I want to get this interview put up while your campaign is still going. If I can help just a little bit, I'm not one of the bigger channels at this juncture. It's not going to be the fucking case forever. Mark my goddamn words. But for right now, I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with. That's just the lay of the land. No resentment. No shit talking for me. You get what you get out of it, what you put in. I put in a lot of work, but you also have to put in the right work. That's something to remember. If you're ever busting your ass on something, you're like, oh man, fuck, I've worked so hard. Well, maybe you haven't done the right kind of work. That's why you always have to keep tweaking. You have to keep adjusting. And if you're failing, if you're not getting where you want to be, always remember to ask yourself what you're doing wrong, not what everyone else is doing wrong. So, why isn't Michael Andon's campaign doing better than it is? Well, I can say right off the bat, I haven't promoted it before now, and I haven't seen many other people do it either. And I think it's well worth the promotion. So I would love to see other people. Hopefully, after this interview comes out, people will watch that. They will go and back his book. I mean, like I said, it's just under $2,500. He's got, I think, 6 days left on the campaign. I mean, this dude needs to break 10,000 on this book, man. It really does look awesome. I'm not bullshitting. I'm not saying that just because he's going to be a guest on my show. I've been looking forward to this book for a long time. And I think it is the type of book that people in CG want. So maybe I'm sure it has something to do with, his engagement level. That would probably be something else that goes along with it, He's got a YouTube channel. I listened to a couple of his videos. And he has a great presence, It's just he's been kind of spotty with his videos. So that might be another thing. It's like if you're on here all the time and you're engaging with people and you're really active in the community, I feel like that only increases your chances. But all of that aside, the book by itself deserves to be a household name in Comicsgate. It really does. Let's see. So what is Me82 saying? He says, I've been finishing up college for the year, so I've been cramming work. How are you? Things sound interesting. Things are interesting. They are. Damn, I don't think you've cursed that much on a stream, but maybe I haven't. Hopefully you're not offended, but I'm feeling limber. I've had a handful of Miller Lite beers here, and I was just on the internet, I've been kind of browsing around. I was tinkering, going here and there, and trying to compile some questions and some topics to cover tomorrow and this first ever episode of Black Coffee Comicsgate. And that's what it's going to be, black coffee. That's why I want to go in with some topics, so I'm prepared. And unfortunately, I haven't had a whole lot of time to prepare for this one. Something that does work in my favor, however, is the fact that Michael Andon is a first-time creator, the first guest on Black Coffee Comicsgate. So there's honestly not too much for me to comb through as far as, social media presence and past campaigns and all this kind of stuff that he's done previously. This is his first big show, not first big show, his first big comic, his first big production. So I have done my due diligence to the best of my abilities, and I think that I've got some good topics to touch upon tomorrow. And that's what I'm hoping for with this show, with Black Coffee Comicsgate, is to give people an opportunity to see creators outside the realm of the live stream, which, does great for a lot of people. Many people are introduced to a new audience through the live stream platform, going on other channels and kind of interacting, shooting the shit, stuff like that. But I had this revelation when we were doing Skeleton Crew last week, is that I kind of wanted to go around the table, or around the classroom, as you would say, and I wanted each person to be able to go in depth about themselves and what they were working on, what their aspirations were, what inspires them. And when you're doing that on a live stream on a panel with a bunch of other people, the unfortunate thing is that when one person's talking, if you're going in depth with these questions, everyone else just kind of has to sit there. And I don't like that either. So I was trying to bounce back and forth from person to person, when I could, to try and keep everyone involved. But what I'm imagining for Black Coffee Comicsgate is, and the reason why I made up this new show, is to give creators an opportunity to address the community. Sorry, not community. I don't want to use that term. I try to stay away from that. Not community, network. For creators to address the network, because community implies, let me go into that real quick. Community implies that sort of everyone is interlocked together, and it's very brotherly and so on and so forth. Comicsgate, I think, has a lot of people in it from different backgrounds, different philosophies, different political persuasions, different religions, and so on and so forth. It's going to be tough to make people buy into the idea of a community based on comic books. But what they can buy into, I think, is the idea of a network. And that's something that I took from John Malin. John Malin described it that way one time, and I was like, that's a great word for it. People should use that instead of community or movement, because network means just that. We're networking with each other. It's like a big web. That's what it needs to be. That's like it at its finest, I think. So creators can come on to a show, sit down one-on-one with me. I'm going to do my research. I'm going to ask them hopefully some questions that will be interesting, give them an opportunity to talk about themselves and their products, because that's another thing. When you go on a live stream and you've got other guests there, you don't want to go on too long about your own shit. This is, I'm sitting down with you and I want you to talk about your own shit so that people who are watching can get a better idea of who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. Why should people buy your book? What's your book about? What inspired your book? And all that kind of stuff. And the peripherals, what are you into? What kind of video games do you play? What kind of books do you read? What kind of TV shows do you watch? All that kind of shit. We'll get into that too. But I wanted a Joe Rogan or a Jocko Willink approach to Comicsgate, and I haven't really seen that too much. So hopefully it works out. Let's see here. Obi-Wan's here. He says, have to get some swear words in. This stream is definitely not for children. That's true. You have to get some swear words in now, because if you don't, if I'm here and I'm talking about comic books here in the United States of America, there are certain politicians who would like to see me skewered to the tune of $50,000 per video if I mark it incorrectly. You know, if I'm like, this is not a child-friendly stream, but I'm talking about comics and I don't use any curse words, then one of these guys, someone like Jerry Nadler, might look at the stream and he might review it and be like, you know what? He's talking about comics. He didn't really say anything offensive. I think he was trying to target kids with that. And then they could sue me for $50,000 per video. So fuck that shit. Very, very explicitly and plainly, this channel in general is not for children. If you let your kids watch, that's your decision. I don't think I would hold the attention of a child very well outside of my own household. You know, my kids think I'm fun. Your kids would be like, what is this guy talking? What the fuck? What? But, you know, that's one of the joys of being a dad. You got to be a superhero. Even if you're just some fucking schmohawk, you know, it doesn't matter. They love you for it. Me82 says, I'm sure there's plenty to talk about even with one comic. And I hope I get notified. I would love to hear about some new comics. Well, if you don't get notified, just remember, Black Coffee Comicsgate is going to be a pre-recorded program. So it's not going to go live. It'll be posted up on the channel at some point. We're going to stream. Well, I mean, we have to connect through the internet, but we're going to be getting together and recording the show via internet tomorrow at around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the United States. And I would like to have the program uploaded by tomorrow evening. I think that would be cool, because one of the things I really wanted to do was to get this out there while Michael's campaign is still going. And by the way, if you're watching this right now and you haven't looked at it, you know, maybe I should just pull that up real quick. Maybe I can do that real fast. Hold on, let me... If you've ever wondered why I pull my glasses down like this, it's because I get an awful glare and you can't see my eye. Look, look at all the screens you see in my face. It's fucking stupid. So I just have to pull them down when I'm in front of my monitor. I've got a small monitor here, another huge monitor right here. So I pull the glasses down so you can actually see my eyeballs. Read my expression a bit. What's up, Proper? How's it going, brother? How you doing? I'm just shooting the shit with a few of my good brothers here. We've got Obi-Wan. We've got Me82. The artist formerly known as Thug Life Jeremy, if I recall correctly. I haven't used that phrase in a while. But, you know, I was talking about this new show I'm going to do starting tomorrow. It's going to be called Black Coffee Comicsgate. One-on-one interviews with Comicsgate creators, giving them the time to talk about their own shit where you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about being in a live stream with 10 other people and taking up too much time. This is like a fucking... It's an ego trip, man. By all means, indulge yourself when you come on Black Coffee Comicsgate. And I hope that this episode goes well. I've got a couple other people who have gotten in touch with me who are interested in coming on the show. It's the type of program that I have not seen anyone do yet. So I'm hoping I got like the whole untapped market thing going for me. And it's going to be a good time. So, yeah. Justin is lurking a bit. And he hopes I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. I hope you're doing well too. In these fucking crazy ass days that we're in. So I was going to... Nick, is that black coffee... Fuck no, it's not cold brew. Come on, bro. You know, it's not cold brew. We're not doing cold brew. You know, I can't speak for anyone else. And the idea is, I'm going to tell this to anyone who comes on to Black Coffee Comicsgate. I would prefer that every guest who appears on Black Coffee Comicsgate would at least start the interview with a nice, fresh, hot cup of black coffee. Because that's the way I drink it. Black as midnight. On a moonless night, I should say. So I would prefer everyone to sit down with a cup of hot black coffee and see where it takes us. You know, that's the idea. Black Coffee Comicsgate. And it cuts through the horse shit. That's another idea. Cutting right through the horse shit. We're not going to deal with ballerina slippers and all this other kind of chicanery. Me82 says, I'm not going to lie, warm coffee makes me more tired. Well, you know, that's the problem. It can't be warm. It's got to be hot. You need piping hot, strong black coffee. And if you have to, put on a little jazz music in the background. You know, something fucking snappy. Keep you alert, feeling good vibes. Get the mind going a little bit. Which guests do I have lined up? Well, you know, I've got Michael for tomorrow. Michael Andon. Of course, Immortal Worlds. I'm going to show you the Indiegogo campaign for that one in just a sec. And then I'm talking to a couple other people that I'll hold off. I'm not bullshitting you. I do have a couple other chats going, but we need to work out the dates and times and all that kind of stuff. So until I get it nailed down, I'm not going to say, well, yeah, I got fucking this guy coming on, and then something happens, and he's like, well, actually, it's not going to work. So I will do my best to hold back any announcements of who's going to come on the show until it's pretty rock solid. And I've talked to Michael a few times now, and he's all good for tomorrow. So I don't think we'll have any issues there. So let me show you my, where is it here? I'm going to screen share this with you. Here we go. Here is, this is Michael Andon's Mortal Worlds. A super soldier discovers that man's first ancestor is our final descendant, a being of ultimate evil. And like I said, one thing that I loved about this from the moment I saw it was it reminded me of like old G.I. Joe comic books, which I've really gotten into over the past few years, thanks to Tom Scioli, who did the recent Transformers versus G.I. Joe books. He did an awesome job. He's got like that really throwback, kind of like Jack Kirby style. And so that's what this reminded me of. And I've been really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be awesome. Where are we now? It's at $2,459. And I just love the artwork. I mean, it totally looks pro. It looks like a fun, action-packed comic book. It is, to me, everything that I wanted Comicsgate to bring to the table. You know, we've got some stretch goals here that unfortunately are not unlocked yet. I hope that at least the $5,000 one will get unlocked. A bookmark for all backers. I want a fucking bookmark, man. Help me get a bookmark. You would get one too. Let's get this guy to $5,000. 10,000, you get a trading card for all backers of Cade Kiger. Let's see who that would be. This guy. He looks kind of like the Duke character, you know, the main character from G.I. Joe. Speaking of G.I. Joe, you know, I was always a big fan of the cartoons and the toys. I never read the comics. I didn't get into the comics until I read Tom Scioli's Transformers versus G.I. Joe books, just like I said, a few years ago. But because of that, I went back and I started buying those old G.I. Joe books. I'm trying to collect all of them. Anytime I'm out at the comic shop and I see a bundle, I pick them up. So that's Mortal Worlds. And, you know, here are the perks. Let me show you this. So you've got one comic and one art of book. So with this one, you get the comic book itself, and then you get an art of Mortal Worlds, which is like a supplemental, you know, sort of source book. It shows you a bunch of the behind the scenes stuff, character creation, and him, I think, sort of explaining more about the world where this takes place. Very similar to what I will be doing with the Ass Kickers Almanac, which I was just talking to my wife about earlier tonight. The Ass Kickers Almanac, of course, will be the very first introduction to the world of my comic book, Lethal Ass Kicker. And that Ass Kickers Almanac is going to be literally like a fucking, you know, like a farmer's almanac. It's going to be about this thick. It's not going to be like a dinky version of your average almanac. It's going to be like this. I'm writing a bunch of articles. We're going to have artwork inside of it. There are going to be advertisements for places, for businesses inside the world. The idea is that the Ass Kickers Almanac will be an in-world item. It'll be something that if you lived in the world of Lethal Ass Kicker, you would walk into a store and you might be able to buy the fucking thing. You know, that's the idea. And it's going to introduce you to and give you a lot of hints. Going to drop a lot of hints and Easter eggs about things that are to come that you might not find out about until you've been through several issues of the goddamn book. And I've never heard of anyone else doing anything like that before, so I have to pat myself on the back for my ingenuity and my genius, and I hope that everyone backs it when it fucking goes live. I'm shooting for my birthday this year. August 16th, 2020 is when you can expect the Indiegogo campaign for the Ass Kickers Almanac to go live. And the reason I brought all of that up was to tell you that's sort of what you're going to get with the Mortal Worlds art book. It's more like that. It's like a behind the scenes look. Yeah. Me82 says, damn, that looks kind of like Warhammer with some anime and X-Men. Yeah. Yeah, it's an awesome looking book. It really is. And I'm not going to name names. I'm not here to throw anyone under the bus. But I will say that there are some books within Comicsgate that I think have looked like absolute horseshit compared to Mortal Worlds and have done, you know, much more in sales and funding. The fact that this is under $2,500, the fact this book has 5 days left now, 5 days left, and has yet to make $2,500. This thing should be at least, in my humble opinion, it should be sitting at least at like $20,000. You can disagree if you want. For my money, it looks top notch, you know. But, you can't make people spend money the way that you would want them to. You've got to, let me take that off. There we go. Okay, back to me. Back to me running the show here. Back to me running the show ski. Me82 says, nice, an almanac. It's been a long time since I heard that idea. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you. I hope that you back it. You know, what I want to do is build this up over time so that when my actual campaign for Lethal Ass Kicker launches, then I've got a fucking army of people who are like, I've been waiting for this thing because I've seen the care and the fucking awesomeness that's gone into it. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a special project. I'm not bullshitting you. I mean, I have very high hopes for this, for Lethal Ass Kicker. I have very little to show you right now. I mean, I've got a fucking book of ideas. That's about it. But it's going to be great. I promise you that. Believe me. So that's why I'm already talking about it. Sometimes you have to do that. You've got to start talking about your shit. You have to start promoting it before it's even materialized. You have to sort of, you have to live it before it's even there. Get yourself hyped about it so that you'll stay in the mindset to continue pumping that workout, to continue producing. Because if you kept it all bottled up and you keep it quiet, then you could get 6 months down the road, feel a moment of discouragement and be like, well, I haven't really told anyone about it, so no one's going to be disappointed if I don't move forward. I'm not feeling it today. I don't think it's coming together the way I want it to. If you've already put it out there, if you've made promises to people who are backing you and who believe in you, then I think that it gives you an extra bit of strength, a source of power to draw from in those moments of discouragement and when you're feeling weak. And it's like, I've got people counting on me. I've already put this out in the open, Maybe it sucks today, but I've got to work through it. That's what you have to do. Interesting tidbit about Mortal Worlds is that Michael Okay, I had to cough. I didn't want to do that, and I had to find the fucking mute button. Okay, Michael Andon works on Mortal Worlds, I believe, with his wife. And my wife, Jess, is going to be helping me on Lethal Ass Kicker. She's going to be helping me a lot on the Ass Kickers Almanac, especially. And there are other ideas. Well, not ideas. There are other plans. Let me say that. They're more than ideas. This is like shit that I have fucking laid out. There are other aspects of this project that she is going to be involved in that I can't even talk about yet because they would spoil certain surprises about the first Lethal Ass Kicker campaign that I believe is going to be quite historic in several ways. Am I right there? I'm trying. I'm doing my best. I took the last big gulp of this down the wrong pipe. Isn't that the worst thing? The old down the wrong pipe. What the fuck? Sorry. That shouldn't be allowed to happen. God damn. I hate the down the wrong pipe. It's one of the worst feelings. Especially when it's like stuck. It's like, all right, I've coughed. I tried drinking something else. Can we just move on now? Can we move on from the down the wrong pipe thing? What do you need? What do you need? What does the pipe need now? What does this pipe need from me so that I can move past it and continue? I mean, it's fucking still there. It's like, bunch of horse shit. Okay, hopefully we're good. Hopefully that's that. Yeah. So just about 8 hours from now, I'll be meeting up with old Michael Andon for the very first edition of Black Coffee Comicsgate. And I hope that it helps to boost him at least It's got to at least get him over that fucking $2,500 mark. One thing I did notice about his campaign, however, is that he's only got, let me see, he's only got 3 different tiers at which you can back the campaign. He's got one for the comic and the art of book, one for the art of book itself, and then one for the comic itself. And I don't know if he did this all digital. If he did, that shows one weakness, I think, of digital comic books. And that is that you cannot sell your original pages, which is something I absolutely intend to do with Lethal Ass Kicker. Obviously, I'm not an industry veteran, so I'm not going to be, getting $5,000 a page or anything like that. But if you could have a tier in your campaign where it's like, I don't know, if you're a first-time artist, you haven't done shit before, and you've done all this stuff on paper, why not put an option down somewhere, maybe between, I don't know, $100, $200, because I see a lot of these people on Twitter who are doing kind of mediocre artwork. They'll charge between $30 to $80 for a sort of commission, between like a head sketch and like a half body sketch or something like that. I mean, if those people can charge that, I think that comic book creators, even if you're a first-time creator, if you get on and do stuff like this and you have people support you and believe in you and they see that your work's quality and you're continuing to put stuff out and they believe you will continue to do stuff in the future, that's going to be a great investment for them. If I was like, yeah, it's going to be $150 for an original page that I spent however many hours on, that 5 years from now, you could turn around and put on eBay for, $500 to $1,000. I mean, that's a win for the consumer. I don't think it's too much to ask. $100 to $150 to $200 for an original page, like a full page from a comic. That's one of the reasons why I have been convinced to go to doing original art on actual paper, even though I'm doing a lot of practice on digital right now, just to kind of get in the groove to practice some certain techniques and such. Me82 said water. Yeah, water might have helped. All I had was more beer, though. It's bubbly. Maybe that's the problem. It's too bubbly. It was too bubbly to save me from the wrong pipe syndrome that I was suffering from. But, I mean, I look at his campaign over here, and it's like if he would have had original pages available, and let's just say $100 a piece, and maybe had a bit more online presence, could have helped out quite a bit. But hopefully, even without doing all that, without the original pages, without just what he's got here, all it would take is this guy going on a few big live streams. Now, that's something that people have argued about. It's caused some pain and strife within the Comicsgate community, is this idea that people who have large platforms have an obligation to platform the people who are underneath of them. Part of me agrees with that, and then another part says no. I think it's a nuanced conversation. You as someone underneath, let's say that. I'll take myself, for example. First-time creator of, comics. I have to prove myself. I hope that by being part of the community or the network, The urge is strong to say community because everything's a fucking community now. Community of gamers, community of whatever. No, the network. As someone who has been part of the network, who's engaged with people, who has been putting videos out, trying to target the Comicsgate network and clientele over the past few years, you feel like you're giving something to the community. And I think it's only natural to start feeling like, well, it'd be nice if someone threw me a bone. You can feel that way. But what you have to do is check yourself from really allowing your emotions to get the best of you. You cannot allow yourself to engage in resentment. You can't allow yourself to get jealous when you see other people sort of what you might consider jumping the line. That's not your call to make. It really isn't. It's like if someone achieves a position that you don't think they deserve, really step back from that. Don't engage yourself. Don't engage your own ego in this game of like, oh, well, I'm so much fucking better. I deserve it much more than they do. And fuck this person, fuck that person. That's only going to hurt you. So what you have to do is step back and examine that. It's like if someone succeeds, if someone jumps the line and you don't think they deserved it, what you should do is examine what they did that got them to that position. See if you can learn anything from it, and that's really something to take to heart. They might be a lot better at connecting with people than you are. Your art might fucking rock. You might be awesome, but if you aren't making personal connections with people, if they don't feel like they can approach you, if they haven't made any sort of, any sort of meaningful relationship with you or your artwork, then, it's not going to translate to much, I think. Meanwhile, if you have an army of followers and people who are fucking supportive to the end of time, people who are going to bat for you, they see all the content that you've given them, they're going to be there to support you in whatever it is that you're trying to branch out into. Those are your diehards. Those are the people that you have to win over. Those are the people that you have to really make happy and appreciate and show them that you appreciate them by continuing to give them more. And that's been one of the things that I've tried to do. It's like I've been in that place before, playing music, feeling like, oh, I'm better than this band, I'm better than that band. Why the fuck are they ahead of me? Well, they're doing something that I'm not doing. That's an uncomfortable reality to face, especially if they're doing things that you don't like doing. I'm not necessarily a social butterfly. I've been in that spot. But not everyone gets to be the sort of brooding guy in the corner who's just so interesting that people will buy his shit anyway. Sometimes people need more from you. If that's the case, then you either give it to them, you find a way to dig out more from yourself, or you just step aside and say, I'm not cut out for this. And I wasn't willing to say that. So I've been looking for ways that I can give people more. That's why I got into this Comicsgate community. Even before I had the idea of doing a fucking book, it was like, well, I love comic books. I've got a band. Why don't I get on YouTube and start making videos about comics and shit, stuff that I'm into? Maybe I can connect with some people who are into the same music, who also like the same movies or the same comic books that I do, and form kind of a meaningful relationship built on more than just what I'm doing, more than myself, more than listen to how awesome my music is, support me now. I think that if you can connect with people on a level that sort of goes more foundational than just what you're doing, then you can keep those people around for a long time, as long as you treat them well. Me 82, I think in the context of larger creators platforming smaller creators says, an obligation, no, but a content creator always has people who raise them up. And if they find someone they believe in, they should return the favor and give back in a way, give what they got. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that's the part of it. It's like, I think that you should give back as you succeed, but I would never want someone who's in, I would say, a higher position than me, who's higher on the totem pole. I would never want someone to have me on out of pity, or to be like, well, this guy's kind of been hanging around for a while, so I'll let him come on and peddle his shit for a few minutes. You know, like, if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. That's another thing. And if you're not good enough, then you need to bust your ass to get better if you want to succeed. But larger creators, larger channels are never, in my opinion, obligated to have people on that they don't believe in, just because that person's been supportive of them, or because that person's kind of orbited the movement or something like that. That makes the actual person at the top look foolish, I think, because most people can see through that shit. It's like, if you have someone on your channel and you're doing it out of pity, I think people will see through it. If you have someone on your show and you don't really believe in them, I think it's fairly obvious. So you should do your best to give back, I think. It'd be awesome if everyone had that as kind of like a part of their foundation. Expanding the network. But to only do so when you feel honest about it. So, boy. Well, anyhow, fucking hell. Me82, I thought there was some I think you're a Bruce Lee guy. I thought I saw some Bruce Lee news recently. And now it's slipping my mind. Might have been like a new fight video that was uncovered or something like that. Or Bruce Lee being examined by like top MMA professionals who are trying to break down, like, you know, how he would do today based on some footage that came out recently. But I can't remember the actual video. I feel like it was advertised as like breaking new footage, but I don't know if that's true, because people say that shit all the time to get views on YouTube. So it could have been someone just horse shitting around with absolutely no idea what they were talking about. Could have been something that's been, you know, you could have watched it 20 years ago. But if it's true, that's interesting, because I've always thought that, especially after I read Bruce Lee's books. Anyhow, fucking hell. Yeah, it is a quote of life, you know. It's, you know, use it. It's good. It'll get you through. It'll get you through some horse shit, I think. Instead of getting worked up, just use that. You know, someone trying to get you all fired up, you don't feel like it. Sometimes you feel like it. Sometimes you do feel like it. Sometimes you feel like getting fired up. If you don't, though, if you don't want to get fired up and someone's trying to get you there, anyhow, fucking hell. You know, just whatever. But, yeah, Bruce Lee, man. He talked a lot about these concepts that are really fundamental to mixed martial arts today. And people, they didn't like that back in that time. They didn't like the idea of drawing from different martial arts disciplines. That was seen as taboo. It's like, you got to pick one, man. You can't just take from whatever you want. And he's like, yeah, I can. I'll fucking make my own, I'll make my own system up. Jeet Kune Do. And he called it a system of no system. Bit of an oxymoron, or a paradox, if you will. but it's true. And a lot of people have said it's the kind of progenitor to the modern day MMA style. If everyone would have stayed in these rigid boxes, UFC today would not exist the way that it does. It would have continued on the way it did, like when the Ultimate Fighting Championship, when it first began, when you had to rent the videos at Blockbuster. At least I did, because our cable provider didn't even have the pay-per-views yet. Back when it was like Ken Shamrock and Hoist Gracie and fucking Tank Abbott, Oleg Toktarov, all these guys. You had to rent the videos from Blockbuster. And by that point, I mean, the fights had happened months and months ago when you would watch them. But when the UFC first started, it really was like style versus style. It was like you have a straight up boxer going in there against a guy who's been doing judo all of his life. And it's just like style versus style. Which one wins? So it was kind of interesting in that respect, But it's morphed into something different now. And it's still entertaining to this day, just in a different way. Me82 says, I haven't seen that, but it's interesting. There's always a few videos being uploaded that keep circulating as breaking. Bruce Lee talks shit that's fundamental to MMA and life. Yeah, I mean, I've read more Bruce Lee than I've seen of his movies, I mean, maybe I don't fucking know if I've sat through an entire like Bruce Lee movie from beginning to end, but I've read several of his books and I was really impressed. And it made me want to it made me want to watch his movies more. And I've got a Bruce Lee collection. It's just one that I haven't sat down with. Maybe I'll do one of my reviews, the Bruce Lee collection. Kind of like I did with the TurboGrafx Mini, 5-minute review of all these Bruce Lee movies. Maybe I can try that. Maybe I can try and review all Bruce Lee movies in like under 10 minutes. I think maybe that would be good. I'll have to see how many he did exactly. Me82 says, I want a new competition that's like UFC 1. That would be badass. I miss the Pride Grand Prix, man, where you have fighters go in and fight in a tournament that takes place like over the course of one evening. I mean, I don't think they'd ever do it again. It sucks, but UFC used to do it too. They used to have tournaments where guys would fight multiple times in one night. That shit was awesome. To see it happen with some of these new guys now, I'd fucking love that. That would, man, the pay-per-view numbers would be awesome too. But, when you're trying to make a bunch of money, it's like, well, we can do a tournament and we can have these guys fight multiple times in one night, or we can space it out and do the tournament over however many number of pay-per-views. So you know what they're going to choose now. Unfortunately, though I get it. Me82 says, review every Bruce Lee movie. That'd be intense. Maybe I should do that because I'm trying to work on, my next big edited together YouTube video is going to be a review of the entire He-Man series. The entire original He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, 130 episodes, split into 2 videos. So the idea is to review all 130 episodes in under 30 minutes. I'm going to split it up into 2 videos, one for each season. So I'm going to review season 1. That's going to be under 15 minutes. Season 2 will be under 15 minutes. And I'm going to go through episode by episode. Like I said, very similar to what I did with the TurboGrafx 16 review. And I think the way I worked it out is I can give myself a little under 10 seconds per episode. So I'll have to see. But it'll be done in a similar way. Me82 said, I'd like an unscripted WWE, but that's way too much health and safety work. The falling from ladder and chair techs. Yeah, it probably wouldn't go well. I don't know if you ever checked out Krew, but that stuff's pretty cool. That's probably as close to a real professional wrestling as you're ever going to see. And some big stars of MMA came from Krew. Frank Shamrock, Ken Shamrock did it. Fuck, why can't I think of his name now? God damn it. You ever have like the picture of someone in your head? You know exactly who the fuck you want to talk about, but then the name's just gone? Isn't that horse shit? What the fuck? Why can't I think of it? Too many beers. Let me say that. God damn it. Me82 says, I mean, the Rey Mysterio types is a real sport in Mexico. Yeah, like Lucha Libre. He's still wrestling. Did you know that? Did you know Rey is still with the WWE these days? He's in an angle right now with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins recently gouged Rey Mysterio's eye out. He forcefully pushed his face into the side of the steel steps. He drove the corner of the steel steps right into Rey Mysterio's eye and like tried to gouge his eye out with it. He did it as he said it was a sacrifice because Seth Rollins is using this gimmick. He's like the Monday Night Messiah now. He fancies himself a sort of a Jesus character, if you will. And Rey Mysterio was his latest sacrifice. But Rey still moves great, man. He still does fantastic work. He does not look like a man his age going at it in the ring. Much the same way that Chris Jericho has aged like a fine wine. Chris Jericho is doing like the best fucking work of his career in AEW. It's incredible, you know? It's been going since like the fucking mid-90s. It's crazy. And never had like a really significant injury in his entire career. That shit's nuts, man. It's crazy. You know, I have aspirations of still getting back into a wrestling ring myself. I went for some training about 5 years ago. And I started it and I loved it, but I was trying to do music stuff at the same time. And I had other people in the band with me at that point, and I was just like, this is just like, it was too much to try and split up. But, you know, I have this vision where I think it would be really, really cool, even if it's just in like my local promotion, the one in Dayton, Rockstar Pro Wrestling. If I could go there and like win a wrestling championship, because my son watches too. And if I could work my way to that point, I think that would be really awesome. It would be a really awesome thing to see for him. Both my sons, maybe my almost 2-year-old would be into it at that point. But I think that would be a really cool thing to do. I mean, it's been a kind of a dream of mine since I was in like 4th grade. So, yeah, it would be. You think I could make my own entrance music? Well, here's the thing, though, is that if I got serious about it to the point where I went back and I was actually able to go through with it, and let me just say this: if you ever have doubted that people get their asses kicked in professional wrestling, man, let me tell you what. You know, I played football in high school early on. not like all the way through, but I played sports my whole life. And professional wrestling training kicks your fucking ass. It is no joke. I mean, learn how to fall, even when you do fall down. Like, it's fucking, there's like wood under the mat, getting thrown into the corner, coming off the ropes. That was probably the fucking worst thing. I mean, when I got home, like the next day, I just had fucking welts all across my back. It looked like I had gotten my shit kicked in by a fucking gang the night before, because your body's not used to it. It takes a while to like build up that tolerance. And it was just like, when you get whipped into the ropes, you have to hit them hard to bounce back off. And it's like steel cable underneath that wrap. Yeah, man, it's intense, but it was fun. And I enjoyed it. So I would like to go back at some point. But on the, on the fucking, on the entrance music stuff. What's going on there with my camera? On the entrance music, I've had in mind literally since I was probably in 4th grade and I started like dreaming about becoming a professional wrestler. I had in mind that my entrance music would be Def Leppard's Pour Some Sugar on Me. So I've always sort of kept this promise to myself that if I ever do it and I go through with it, that is the song that I will use when I come out. So it's got a great like wrestling just beat and riff to it. I think I was right on the money with it, So I'll have to make that happen. Me82 said I'd be scared to fight you. That's for sure. Oh, I don't have much real training, though. I am. Another thing I want to do is get back to jiu-jitsu. I took my son to a local place here, and the guy who runs this dojo has actually trained with the Gracies, so he knows his shit. He's been around for a long time. I went there way back in the day with my uncle, so he's had his martial arts institute for many years now. And the guy, I went there last year, and he's still in phenomenal shape, man. He could fucking just throw you across the room, no problem. Knows what he's doing. But I wanted to get into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu after listening to Jocko Willink talk about how great it is just for your mind and keeping yourself healthy, and also feeling like you could hold your own in a fight if you needed to. There's a lot of really, really great stuff to learn from it. And then we talked about moving and started packing up our house and all this stuff, and I just kind of had to push that to the side. But that's another thing I want to get back to. And then I want to make a fucking comic book, and I also want to make a new album. So it's just like, I got a fucking few things going on that I'm trying to do. But, why not load up your fucking plate, man, at life's buffet? Why not? Something that Jordan Peterson's talked about. He's like, you have no idea how much you can accomplish if you actually become efficient. If you're able to manage your time properly, you have no fucking clue how much you could do in your life. And I think about that to myself all the time when I catch myself after sitting on fucking Twitter or Facebook, looking at all this horse shit, seeing what people are saying and all this. It's like, in the moment, it feels like you're doing something. It feels like you're engaged in something important. But then even if you have a conversation with someone, half the time, not half the time, I would say 99% of the time, that I end up having a conversation that starts out in a way where I think, well, this is going to be important. It fucking goes south. And that's like part of the political climate now. But you have to be willing to speak the truth. But you can't get wrapped up in these petty social media arguments and all this shit, because there's so many other things you could be doing with your time. So many things. Oh, Obi-Wan says, I think you missed my earlier chat about reopening. What have you been doing for fitness during the lockdown? I have actually discovered Jean-Claude Van Damme has been releasing like his fitness program on YouTube. And that's what I've been doing. And I'll admit, I've been a shitlord for about 2 weeks for various reasons. But my plan is to hit it hard come Monday to get back on track, get back on my schedule, because I was waking up at 4 a.m. And getting right to work, and I had a great routine planned out. And then, I'm not making excuses for myself, but it's like through all this stuff, there's been so much just weirdness, and so I've prioritized other things over my personal regimen and going to bed at this time and waking up at this time. But I plan to get back to it on Monday, and I will get back to my JCVD workouts, which are fantastic. I mean, go to his channel, go look up Jean-Claude Van Damme's YouTube channel, and he starts out with a stretching program, and it's like it takes you through it in multiple phases and kind of works you up to the actual like strength exercises. Once you get to the end of it, I think the entire workout together takes about an hour to do. And when I was really on target, it was like, okay, I'm waking up at 4, and then I go right downstairs and get to my workout, and I was done working out by 5 a.m., get a shower, I'm up in the office, and I'm working by like 5:15 or 5:30. Like, that's my ideal schedule. Right now it's 4:19, and I'm sitting here drinking Miller Lite. This is not ideal. This is not what I'm striving for, guys. So just let this be the fucking proof that I'm a human being. I like to talk about efficiency. I strive for it. I'm going for it. But right now, I've prioritized other things. You won't hear me say, oh, I don't have time for this or that. I like to say I've prioritized other things. Tonight, I prioritized drinking beer over getting to bed early and waking up in the morning and working out. But come Sunday night, I will have made other plans, and I plan to get back to it. I like, there is that psychological thing of a nice clean start to begin the week. So I'm just like, all right, this week's kind of been shit for discipline. I am going to, I'm going to hang loose. There's been a little bit of nonsense going on. I'm going to hang loose. I'm going to try and relax a little bit. And then starting on Monday, we're going to get back to it hardcore. But yeah, really, it sounds silly. It sounds silly to do a Jean-Claude Van Damme workout. But really, the dude is fucking in his 50s. And I'm telling you, go watch the videos. He is in fantastic shape. And this is the program that he used to get himself back in shape, because there was a time there where he got off the rails. I mean, he had I think a pretty bad coke habit, and he was out of shape. He got injured. Things just weren't really going well for him. And what he has shared on YouTube during the lockdown, that's why he started doing it. He was like, during the lockdown, I want to give back to the people who have helped make me successful, and I'm going to show you the program I used to get myself back in shape and get my life back on track. So if you follow that, you'll start seeing results. I mean, I already did. It's a great program. It's probably something that he paid thousands of dollars to learn from whoever taught it to him. Whatever physical therapists and nutritionists and personal trainers he visited during that time when he was putting it together. I mean, now you can learn it straight from him. He's telling you, he's like, here is the workout that I have been doing for the past 6 years. And this is how I stay in shape. And you can do the exact same fucking thing, like in your house. That's what's great about it. is that it doesn't require you to go to a gym. I mean, you can enhance it if you get a set of dumbbells, and you want to add some weight to it, but it's not necessary. There are always other things you can grab in your house that will provide resistance for you. So, yeah. Obi-Wan says, well, it sounds like you've done better than me. I'm so out of shape after 2 months with no gym. That's the thing, man. Just, I'll say it again. Go check out JCVD. Go to his channel. Go look up and see what Jean-Claude has for you. You don't need any gym membership. You can do it right in your house. If you have room to, you got room to stand, room to lay down in the middle of the floor somewhere, you can do it. You can do that workout. So check it out. Totally free. Again, something this guy probably paid thousands of dollars to compile for himself. Just something that he's doing to give back to people. So I think that's pretty neat. Me82 says it's 9:19 and I'm watching YouTube and doing coursework instead of sleeping. So I think I've dropped about 30 to 40 pounds during lockdown. So I'll watch the videos and say, hey, there you go. Yeah, give it a shot. So it's 9:19 where you are. I guess you, going back to the initial thing here, Mortal Worlds, Michael Andon, he is from London. He said that because we're meeting up for this interview tomorrow at 1 p.m. my time, Eastern Standard Time, and he said that would be 6 p.m. for him. So I guess you guys must be kind of in similar areas, I suppose. Over there in the UK. Obi-Wan says gym just opened today, so he'll just go back to doing that. Well, that's fine. But let me say this. Even if you don't adopt the whole program, go and check out the stretch routine. If you go to... Hold on a second. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. I am going to pull it up right now. Hold on. I'm going to go to JCVD's YouTube channel here. I think it's lesson... Whoa. It's lesson 5. Yeah, there it is. Oop. No, not that. Okay. So here, I wonder if I can go ahead and just copy this into the goddamn chat. There you go. I put it in the chat for you. That's the JCVD stretch routine. It's about 20 minutes, and you'll feel nice and limber, ready to go. A lot of people don't like to stretch, but it's very important, especially, as you get a little bit older. I know, we're not 90-year-old men here in this chat, but we're also not 12 or 13-year-olds, who can jump out of bed in the morning and then go and fucking play a football game. It does the body good to get a nice stretch in, to keep the muscles nice and loose, keep those joints nice and limber. So check that out. See what you think. And if you like it, then check out his other videos. I will give you my other little cheat code here because, like I said, they're kind of split up into different lessons. So he'll do like a few small videos, and then he'll release a larger video that kind of puts them all together. And the other one would be number, shit, what is it? You have to let me get back to you with that. I think it's number 9, 1 and 2. I don't know. Fuck. I'll find it. Do I use a foam roller? My wife has one. I've used it a few times. I don't use it all the time, but from time to time I will use the foam roller. That can be nice if my back is especially, kinked up or what have you. But it's not a staple of my routine. I think that a lot of the stretching, especially the stretching in that video, I've found that once I started doing that, it was probably the best stretch routine that I've ever done for the time that it takes. You really feel great afterwards because it's like 20 minutes and then you're ready to go into your workout. Fantastic. It's good shit. Are you doing any cricket, Obi-Wan? Has that been going on at all? I don't know what your sports scene looks like over there, but we don't really have anything happening besides UFC and pro wrestling, believe it or not, here in the States. They were talking about doing a limited NHL hockey and then NBA basketball playoff system so they could still have a champion for 2020, I guess, without any fans in the arena or anything like that. But what are they doing for cricket? What do you guys have going on there? Are they going to move forward with any sort of season? Just, teams only, no fans in the stadiums or anything like that? I didn't even think about that until just now, how all this stuff might be affecting other countries and their sports teams in particular. To me, looking around and seeing all these protests, man, it makes it tough to justify keeping people apart. Because at least on our media here in the U.S., no one's really talking about the coronavirus anymore. They're just talking about and really celebrating the fact that people are out and protesting and are in these large groups. A lot of people are pissed off, though, because you've had stories of people who said that just last week they were not allowed to go to a funeral, of someone that was close to them because of the cap they had placed on the number of people that could be in the same room together. Yet you've got thousands and thousands of people being applauded by the mainstream media for being out on the streets together, all scrunched up, and really no one's talking about that. So Me82 says he thinks there's too many people on the teams. What, to be able to have a game successfully played without exposing too many people to COVID-19, whatever threat that actually causes, or it's like I said, they pretty much fucking dropped it. The media here, it went from, if you leave your house, you're gonna kill everyone's fucking grandparents, to why the fuck are you inside and not out protesting? It's the craziest shit I've ever fucking seen. It's so fucking, I don't even know. There aren't words for it. It's crazy. It's fucking crazed here in these days and these times. People think that because it's summer, Corona is gone, or that it doesn't matter because it's gone. I mean, here it seems like it doesn't matter because there are protests to be had. There are riots to be had. There's fun to be had for some people, apparently. Obi-Wan says rugby league started back up last weekend. Guessing Australian Football League will be starting up soon, but the season is modified. The 18 teams are splitting up to various hubs around the country, so there's not so much traveling, all behind closed doors. So no fans in attendance for any of these contests, I guess. It'll just be like the teams and then, officials, I guess. Things of that nature. But governments of the world are going to have a tough time convincing people to stay indoors after all these protests and all these demonstrations, especially after they've been supporting the demonstrations. Like I said, you left your house last week or a couple weeks ago, it was because you wanted all the fucking senior citizens to die. If you leave your house, you're a fucking monster. You're going to kill everyone's grandma. Now, why haven't you gone out? Why aren't you protesting? Well, I thought I was supposed to be inside. Fuck it. That shit's stupid. Doesn't mean a fucking thing. Me82 says, there's a protest here today, but we can't go on the bus without a mask. It doesn't make much sense, but it's important, and people were getting cooped up. Yeah, that's what's silly. You know what's silly to me about the whole mask thing? And then just people, like average people, don't have any idea of like cross-contamination. I see this stuff and it bothers me because my wife owns a tattoo shop. So I have some familiarity with the proper protocol that should be kept in place when you're dealing with hazardous materials or biohazards. But, I was out I had to go out to a Home Depot recently, and just in the time I was standing in line, I counted, and this was like a couple minutes maybe, I counted like 9 people because I thought about it. I was wondering, how many people are going to fuck around with their masks while I'm standing here? And I counted 9 people, including employees, like the people that work at the cash register, the people that were sort of back in the office, people who were just walking around stocking shit, customers walking by, like almost everyone who was wearing a mask, and I wasn't, because I don't wear one when I go out. Whatever. But everyone who was wearing one, of all the people that I watched, I would say 90% of them at some point fucked with it. And it's a fucking thing. You're breathing into it. And these are people wearing like the cloth mask. So it's like a piece of fabric that's collecting moisture. And all of these people are reaching up and fucking around with it and like pulling it down for a minute to talk to someone, and they'd fucking pull it back up. Now you've got fucking spittle all over your hands. And then you're going and stocking shelves or cashing people out and handing them money or taking their fucking credit card and giving it back to them. It's just like, to me, it looked like more of a hazard than something that was going to keep anyone safe. Because the entire time I was standing there, I didn't feel compelled to reach up and start fucking around with anything, that had been collecting my spittle for hours. If the person's been working like an 8-hour shift with this piece of fabric on their face, if you touch over here, it's probably spread all the way up. Now you've got whatever shit you've got coming out of your mouth all over your fucking hands. They weren't walking over and using hand sanitizer every time they did this. It was like, readjust my fucking mask. Now I'll go over here and do my thing. I mean, so that's what I'm saying. I don't know about all that stuff. Me82 says people should still be indoors. In his opinion, we're going to see a rise in cases from the protests, all build up in frustration and bad timing. Yeah. And tattoo shops start opening next month, and I have one booked. Well, there you go. That sucked for us because when we had to shut down, we actually were proactive. We shut down our tattoo shop, the one my wife owns, before we got an order from the state that we had to do so. I mean, we were trying to be ahead of things because no one knew shit about this stuff when it started. So it was like, well, it sounds pretty fucking bad. So we don't want to put people in that position. So we shut it down. We were having the best year ever. We had over 300 clients that we had to cancel. Luckily, pretty much everyone had deposits down and they kept them down, which is another great sign. So we've since reopening had been rebooking like 300 people, and we've got like another 100 or something who have sent in requests just in the time that we've been open for the past 2 weeks or so. So, I mean, it's a good problem to have. You've got a lot of people who want to get into your shop, but it can be kind of hectic. Obi-Wan says casual cricket is starting back up again. Agree there's some hypocrisy. There will be a spike in cases, he's sure. Yeah, but what gives me hope is I've heard that the fucking thing is mutated so many times now that the strain of it that's being passed around is significantly weaker than what people were dealing with at the beginning, which is good news. So even if the number of cases go up, no one's forecasting that the hospitals here are going to be overrun. And if they are, then we know that because we shut down for that period of time earlier this year, we allowed manufacturers to create enough, equipment and supplies that can be used in the case of that happening. Though I don't think that's going to. We needed an opportunity to get our bearings. So I'm glad we did that at the very least. We'll get back on track. Me82 says we need to go back to the 1800s with the big leather bird masks. Yeah, with the doctors who were cleaning up after the fucking plague and shit. And says I was somewhat lucky but very unlucky. I got the virus pretty early on, so when I recovered, I have to worry less since I've got the antibodies. Yeah, I mean that's a good deal. And and it's doom and gloom, of course. The media is gonna they're gonna make everyone try and be as scared as possible because doom and gloom leads. That's the type of stuff that makes people click on your articles and pick up your newspapers. They're not going to be reporting good news. Over 99% of people who get coronavirus will fully recover. It's not a very interesting news headline. So you've got to go with the worst of the shit and perpetuate it. Unfortunately, that's where we are. But I'm glad you had a nice recovery and you've got those antibodies built up. It's a good thing. It's another thing about this virus. No one knows exactly how many people have had it. Because early on it was discovered there were a lot of asymptomatic carriers. A lot of people think this thing was here much earlier than January. We have no fucking clue. It could have swept through the entire fucking country already and no one even knows. So that's another possibility. Oh boy. All right, guys. Well, when I sat down, I was like, I'm going to finish these 2 beers and I'm going to be on my way because I've got to get up. I've got kids to take care of in the morning, get off over to the grandparents' house, and then in the afternoon I've got that nice interview with Mr. Andon from over there in London town. And then hopefully tomorrow night on the Super Divorce YouTube channel, I will have the very first episode of Black Coffee Comicsgate for you guys to watch and learn more about the creator behind Mortal Worlds. And hopefully it'll convince a few people to go out and back this goddamn thing and get this guy closer to a number that I think he deserves. So That's what we're going to have going on tomorrow. So thank you guys, Me82, Obi-Wan, for being part of the skeleton crew here tonight, keeping the machine running when everyone else is asleep. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's true. Me82 says, between the virus and the riots and everything we learned, that the media and government working together or against each other can cripple society. That is an unfortunate truth. So we have to band together as people, have each other's backs, you know, talk shit about pop culture, read some comic books, and have a fucking brewski or two, and enjoy the company of your buddies. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Till next time, everyone, take care. Love you lots. Lord willing, I will see you very soon with another video for you to watch. All right. Bye-bye.